Hello guys, I'm Sadhna and you're on a curator's journey. Get ready to get your funny bone tickled today because my guest is a stand-up comedian. She's Radhika Vaz, one of India's pioneering women stand-up comedians, and you're going to enjoy this one. What we'll talk about could be a host of topics. Her love for dogs, her role in the evolving stand-up comedy space in India, her show Shugs Fats. There's so much to discuss. So join us as we spend the next hour or so chatting, and of course we'll take some questions from the viewers at the end. So if you've got something to ask her, maybe you want to find out how you can get into comedy as a career, then today would be a good day. So join me as I chat with her on a curator's journey. Let's go.
Hi.
Hi Radhika, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very well.
I'm just trying to set my computer in a situation where I can actually just place my phone on it, because otherwise I feel like I have to hold it. No, maybe I'll just hold it. This is a better position. Okay, I'm ready. No, I'm fine. I'm ready. Can you see me? Do I have enough light?
Yeah, I can see you. If you want to move towards light.
No, that's good. That's good. That's good.
Okay, great. Hi Jayati. There are a few people joining in, so before we, actually start, let's warm
Yeah.
up and chit chat a bit. So I'll start by telling you why you're here.
Yes. Why am I here?
Yeah, and what we are doing. I was bored, oblique, underutilized during the lockdown.
Yeah.
So I thought, let me, though I'm in travel, so this is not what I do for a living exactly. But I thought I'd bring, a set of people who I find extremely inspiring together and share their story every Sunday at 7 p.m. So that's how this curator's journey came about.
Okay,
And,
great.
It's been fantastic because it's been awfully interesting for me as well to think up new things and talk to new people. It's not concentrating only on one arena. There's so much, with every person it changes. So that's beautiful. So what I'm going to do is I'm just putting a book under this because I feel like it's going to be better. Yeah, I think I like this better now.
Okay, good.
Everything okay? Are you good?
Yeah, I'm great.
Okay, great. So we have some more people joining now. Chetna's here and some other people who's there's soup here, Lankam soup and everybody. So hello and thank you. Some of them have been coming every weekend, so that's great. And this time it's going to be a brilliant episode because we have Radhika with us. So yes. So we are also going to do a few questions at the end. So if you want to ask her something, if you're an aspiring stand-up and you want to, find out something about how to go in that direction, I think this would be the perfect time as well.
Yeah, ask me anything, even if it's not related to stand-up. I just love giving people advice that they're probably not going to follow, but whatever. I don't follow other people's advice either, so.
Yeah, but it's always good to know what they think, right?
Yeah.
Hi, Ginny. Okay, so let me tell you a bit about Radhika to start with. Now that we have a few people, we can always start, talking to them. Radhika is actually very well accomplished. She has got, let me read it out. She's a winner of the prestigious Gotham Independent Film Award for her path-breaking series Shugs Fats. She is also named by Filmmaker Magazine as as one of the 25 new faces of independent film.
Not that new, but you know.
That's what they said. They're the jury.
That's what they said. They hadn't taken a close enough look.
Final word. She's also the author of Unladylike, which is a very humorous take on probably her own life. Is that a memoir?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I actually have I meant to actually show this to your viewers. I think I have like a copy of my book in my hand at this moment. So that's my book.
Wonderful.
Please buy it. It's on Amazon.
Yes. You should do that, yes.
And then you will know my views on almost everything. Yeah, great.
And we'll speak a little more on your book during the conversation as well. And of course, she's a content creator for Vogue and magazines like the Washington Post, etc. So there's a lot that is happening there behind that mind. And the important thing is really that besides all of this, I have discovered today that she's also an animal lover.
Oh my God. I feel like that's now my primary thing.
Yes, and that adds a lot of value to all of this because, there are so many people like who, we know they've done this and that, but this is something you don't talk about. And this is something that you really are passionate about, which is great. So tell us, what were you doing? You had rescued some dogs, etc.
No, so basically, yeah. So when the lockdown happened, it was total coincidence. My husband lives in Gurgaon, I live in Bombay. But the week before the lockdown, I decided to come to Gurgaon because all our shows had got cancelled. And I just figured I have absolutely no reason to be in Bombay right now. So I'll just go to Gurgaon for a couple of weeks. And the lockdown happened, and within I think a day or two of the lockdown happening, we had to deposit a check somewhere in some bank close by. And if you're not from Gurgaon, then let me just describe it for you. It's kind of like huge buildings and like complexes like here and there. And then there's like highways and roads and stuff. And we're very close to one of the highways. So all these office buildings shut down, and a lot of stray dogs that were getting fed by office workers had no food. I mean, suddenly, like their food source was completely removed. So I didn't even know about this. We went to drop this check off, and then we saw these 3 or 4 dogs, and they were like huddled in a corner, and like, oh my God, they looked so frightened, but they were so sweet. So we got them some food. And then it just became, I was like, oh my God, we have to go and feed them every day. And like as usual, the chowkidars of the buildings, they were giving us the lowdown on how people used to give them food, and now those people are all gone. So it became a daily thing. And then through that, I connected with a lot of people who do this as every day. Like there's a woman in my complex who feeds about 65 stray dogs. That's what she does. It's her thing. Like she provides a meal for 65 stray dogs every single day. And a couple of people joining. Yeah, no, I mean, it's crazy. And I'm just going to blow a kiss to Pokraj. Here we go. And so, post. So I connected with a lot of people who do stuff like that. And then I got into getting them vaccinated and sterilized. I did that for one dog. And now this weekend, we meaning Maya, I mean, she's the one who spearheaded this whole thing. We're just volunteers. Several other dogs were rounded up. And one of the dogs was one of the dogs I fed every single day. And she has 4 puppies. So we had to also foster the puppies. So that was the whole thing that we had to do yesterday, was pick up the dogs for the sterilization, then get the puppies to a vet for a basic checkup before they went to the foster home, then take them to the foster home, settle them in there, have them all the ticks removed and powdered and cleaned, Then today I went over and visited them, and we had to sort of figure out what to do about getting them distemper shots. And so, I mean, there's a lot of care in taking care of a dog.
Once you get into anything, whatever it is,
totally.
It takes up a lot of time, and people don't realize it. And also that there are some things which are kind of thankless, and I would term this as one of the.
But it's only, I know, but it's only thankless from the human beings. Like the humans around us don't give a shit. But the dogs are, I mean, oh my God. I would rather have, I would just rather have the whatever. It's not even like they don't even have to like just one dog look at you like that than 10 fucking human beings. Like really, it feels good. It feeds your soul. It really does. I mean, it's such a cliche, but it's so true. Helping animals and people, man. I mean, today I was hanging out with this young couple who took the foster kid. He's like this young guy in his 20s. He's fostering all 4 puppies. He's a lawyer at the Supreme Court. The courts are closed. So he's like, let me do this. So he's been helping out a lot. And so he fostered these 4 animals, and 3 of his friends, like all these like young 20-year-old, 25-year-old young people, they're all at his place taking care of these dogs, chilling out with the dogs, like being so sweet to them. And I mean, whatever people say about millennials is all bullshit, man. You millennials are freaking awesome. Like they actually are awesome. So so they're really,
So good. So you are.
I'm very happy. You've got me at a very happy moment. Yes.
That's wonderful. So now let's move on to more about your career. I have to say that back then when you must have started getting into it, and considering you had a very successful career in advertising.
Well, I wouldn't call it a very successful career, but
I mean, you said there. So how did you actually, why did you have this interest in stand-up, which I'm sure was not exactly an, top of the line job at that point, because it's come of age now. So what drew you to take this seriously as a career?
I actually never looked at, so I started taking improvisational comedy classes and writing classes just to sort of do something that was different from my job and as a hobby, and to meet new people and to just do something a bit more creative. Because while I was in advertising, I was also in marketing. I wasn't really creative. I wasn't a writer. So I started doing this more to sort of have fun and just do something different. And stand-up, it was something that just happened because I wanted to perform in India. And improvisation, you need a group of people, or at least 2 other people to perform. And I didn't know anyone in India who was doing improv at the time. And traveling from the States with 2 other improvisers was going to be expensive and just difficult to do. And so I ended up bringing it wasn't even a stand-up show. It was a 1-woman show, which was comedic monologues that I sort of put together. And the theme of the show was Unladylike, which is the same name as my book. But it was only after I performed that show that I started to look at stand-up as an option, because I was like, okay, I can do this 1-woman kind of performance and try and see if I can make a living out of it, because I really enjoyed it. I really felt like it was something I was good at. And I don't say that lightly, because, I think I'm almost 50, and I think women, especially our age, are raised to be like super modest about everything. And it's not that way. Even sometimes it's false modesty, and then sometimes it's just low self-esteem. So I feel like that's my oeuvre, low self-esteem. But I know that with this, I was doing it well. Like I was able to take information and convert it into something entertaining. And I enjoyed doing it. So I said, let me see if I can do this.
That's the nicest thing. At times, you set out to do something with a particular objective, and when you're doing it, you realize that you actually enjoy it, and you may even change your objective ultimately, but you don't mind
Yeah.
because you've enjoyed
Yeah.
that and you've enjoyed the process so much, you know.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
there are things beyond money, maybe, for example, and there are things which I think one should be ready to change course of action and, you know, start doing things that they really want to.
I agree.
And
And I
maybe,
mean, like, you know, I just want to say one thing about the money part of it is like, I definitely don't, you know, being, especially being a woman, I think, or being anybody, right? Like, man or
yeah,
woman, it's like money is really important. And honestly, this freaking lockdown showed me how important it was, because having to pay rent when there is no income is a very scary thing. And I think a lot of people are dealing with that. And so money is always important. And I think there's a way to balance learning how to do something that you love and doing something that you love with earning money. And for a very long time, I had to do both. I had to do both. And a lot of my friends in comedy have to do both, because comedy doesn't pay that well until you get to a certain level, and you always have to be doing all kinds of things. So for me, writing a book, doing a web series, writing columns, that's all because I don't make that much money off of stand up. Like, I will make a lot of money one month, and then I won't get a very well paying gig for a couple of months. And now it's been months on end. So writing for other types of you know, like other publications, or writing advertising copy, writing for videos, writing for other people's shows, that's one way to do it. And I think being open to doing that is what I think is very important as a creator, is that if you want to be able to spread your artistic wings, make sure that you can afford to do it. And so either have your own money or earn it, you know.
yeah. I get it. So, this is another interesting thing that I'd like to discuss with you. The first time that I saw your show, which was a good 7-8 years ago, if you recall, it was
Yeah.
an outstation, you know, a niche group of
Yeah.
people who had
Yeah.
got together for some particular
Yeah.
reason. Now, the response to that show, if you remember, was very guarded. I mean, the people weren't really laughing wholeheartedly.
They weren't laughing at all. It was I think that I remember the show well. It was a corporate show. So
Yeah.
I think a lot of comedians, we have this experience where when you're hired to do a corporate show, it's, you know, because you're the hot thing of the moment. That's always the case. It's like, oh my God, like, so much press around this person, or they have a Netflix show, or whatever the fuck it is, right? Like, they always like, oh my God. I'm just sending little emoji hearts and kisses and whatnot to people who are waving
Yeah.
out to me. And I think that, you know, when you're hired to do stuff like that, people mean to do it in the best spirit. They're like, be who you are and like say whatever's on your mind, and we just want to really hear your point of view. And then when you actually come out there and give them your point of view, unfortunately, you know, a corporate show is a very difficult situation, because it's a lot of people who are not necessarily into stand-up comedy. The company has decided that they're going to watch it. They've not decided they're going to watch it. So I think that particular, I'm not going to say the name of my client, but that particular one,
Yeah.
I just remember it was in Rishikesh. And that particular one had a very disparate group of people, including like very conservative,
Plus, they were there
mainly
with their,
guys. And they were there to
their
do.
spouses and sisters.
Some
and
weren't
all.
even there with their, yeah, one or two were there with randomly their sisters or whatever. And then
Yeah,
many
so-
were there without their spouses. You guys were in the minority. There was you and another lady, but it was a lot of men. And I don't like to bitch about
So
middle-aged
my
men, but I would
question
say,
was really, yeah, I get it. So what I
yeah,
wanted to ask you was that all of this is true. I agree
yeah.
with you. What I want to get at is that, was it because it was then, or is it still like that? And
Oh,
has
totally, it's still
comedy
like
really
that. Oh
come
my
up?
God. No. Like,
Because
I
now
don't
when I
even.
go to a stand-up, I see
Yeah.
people laughing,
Yeah,
going,
but
like
it's
they're
not.
totally enjoying themselves.
Yeah, but that was, I mean, you can't even compare buying a ticket for a normal show to a corporate show ever. It's never the same thing.
Even now.
So even now, I mean, even now, I could go into a corporate show, and if it's 85% men and I want to tell a really, really funny joke about menopause, you think they're going to find it funny? I mean, they're going to be so uncomfortable. And that's sad because that tells you two things. That tells you we still don't have enough women in corporate India. We still don't have enough women representation in most places. Women making money, women holding power. And yeah, but if you buy a ticket, like for me, the experience I had right from the beginning was if someone bought a ticket to a show, that was them self-selecting, like they wanted to see comedy. And right from day one, those people, they always get it. I rarely have a bad show in a comedy club.
Okay, great. So some more people have joined. There's Anup, there's Aman, and there's Pokhraj, there's Urvashi. Hi Urvashi. And Simar is there. Hello everybody. And okay,
Yeah,
Pokhraj
so
says
Pokhraj
only
actually made
fans
a,
attend the show.
which is true. I mean, like, I think fans of comedy, so even if they don't know who I am or they don't know who another comedian is, they're at least interested in comedy and they come there with an open mind. So, yeah, every now and then you're going to have people who don't get it or they may not like your comedy. I mean, that's fair. But the restraint and the awkwardness around, like, edgy humor is a little bit less in a comedy venue than it would be in a corporate show venue. And I think that, there are some comedians who do really well with corporate shows. And I don't grudge them that. I mean, it's like more power to you, man. Pick up the check and run. But I definitely learned the hard way that there's certain things you just can't say in a corporate environment.
Yeah.
And I should have known better. I worked in a corporate environment for like freaking 20 years. Like, I should have known better.
So you are picking up fans here. I mean, there are people who are already your fans. There's Urvashi. She says big fan. Urvashi Chawla. And there's Chetna, who's going to come for your next show whenever you do it in Gurgaon. So
we're doing online shows
Gaurav
too,
will
so
do
join
it.
those. Yeah.
Yeah.
Follow
I'll,
me on everyone. Follow me on Instagram, and I'm putting up. I was not doing a lot of online stuff, but now we're doing a few here and there.
Yeah, no, that's good. And any important show, anything in Gurgaon, I'll post it as well on my.
Awesome. I mean, now there are no shows anywhere, right? It's all online. Like nobody, very few.
Yeah, right.
I think there are few comedians who try to do a couple of live things here and there. Maybe
Very
they had a
risky.
few. It is very risky. I mean, people aren't coming out, and I'm not sure how they got those audiences or what the arrangements were and how many people were allowed into the venue. And, I'm sure that it's whatever.
And
It's
with
just
the threat of corona hanging in the air, you will hardly be, wholehearted.
Yeah, I think people are just really nervous. Yeah.
I think online is good. I've realized that we've got a whole lot done in these last 3-4 months, and
Yeah.
I'm making use of the medium as well. So
Yeah.
I think it's
As one should. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk a bit about Shugs and Fats.
Sure.
And in fact, what I wanted to mention was that Shugs and Fats, which is the serial that you do, the show that you do,
Yeah.
as well as your book Unladylike, is
Yeah.
somewhere about fitting in. There's an element of fitting in both places, whether it's as an Asian or whether it's fitting into people's or your own image of yourself. So is that by the way or accident that it happened that both these are having the central theme as fitting in, or is it is there something you want to say? Is there something Radhika really wants to say in
Yeah. I mean, I think that you picked that up completely. I mean, like, I wouldn't have thought that through, but yeah, definitely. I mean, I think my whole life's been about fitting in, or trying to fit in and then realizing, oh, okay, that didn't work. So now I'm just going to be myself. And then moving on. And then another situation comes up and I'm like, okay, now I got to fit into this. And then reminding myself that, okay, maybe I can't fit in and I just have to be who the fuck I am. And so I definitely think Shugs and Fats is about Muslim women, hijabis to be specific, and about living in the West as a hijabi. And it definitely is about having to fit into a Western culture from an Eastern culture, and not only trying to embrace that culture and then trying to fit into it. And I think that and then Unladylike, my show as well as the book, the first show and the book, is a lot to do with my sort of ambiguity around femininity, because being female, there's a lot of rules about what that looks like, what that sounds like, how much you have to weigh, how tall you have to be, what your boob size has, it's like there's so many things that women have to do to be feminine, and being feminine is the ultimate fucking prize. And every 10 years, what's feminine changes. So, just as you become, just as you lose 30 pounds and you're skinny and emaciated, along comes Kim Kardashian and freaking Beyonce, and now you're supposed to have a big ass. And you lost all the weight so that you could be Kate Moss, and now you have to have a big ass. And now it's like, it's never ending. It's never ending. It's an attack on women. It's upheld by the media. It's pushed on us in all directions, and it just is there. I mean, there's nothing you can do about it. So, and it's not just physical. It's also, I came from a mixed marriage background. There's so many things about me that I felt I didn't fit into a lot of the molds, and even just as a kid, I didn't fit into certain types of things. So yeah, it's all about trying to fit in. I think that battle is part of my life, and it comes out in what I do.
I urge people to see Shugs and Fats. It's really funny, and it's pretty evident. So good you answered.
Yeah, Shugs and Fats on YouTube, and it's all about just messing around like two women in New York who don't look like New Yorkers, but are New Yorkers, and that's what a lot of New Yorkers look like. So, yeah.
So we have Tasneem who's joined us. Hi Tasneem. Mona has joined us. Hi Mona. Anish Nair has joined us, and Vikramajit has joined us. Pokhara is giving, it says what is that about? What about?
Who's that? Who said that?
Pokhraj.
Yeah, but that's also in context to what he was saying. He was like, even for men, at one point you needed to be shredded, and now people aspire to have dad bods. It's like, look, we're all screwed. I mean, like I always say this, right? Like women, regardless of what job you have, your real job is to be sexy. And for men, regardless of what job you have, your real job is to be rich. And the sexier we are, the richer you have to be. That's the way it is. It's like the rich guys get the sexier girls, so you have to be rich, we have to be sexy, and it's this awful downward spiral that we put ourselves into. So yeah, patriarchy, man, we gotta smash it.
Yeah. So let's lighten things up a bit.
Yes.
I know you enjoy travel, and I know you like Goa. So tell me a bit about Goa. Like, why Goa? What do you love about it? And where do you know to stay?
Okay, so
or what do you like about it? I mean, that's.
Oh my God, everything. I love everything about Goa. I love the weather. I don't care what time of year it is. It can be raining. It can be the height of summer. It can be obviously the season when everyone really goes and weather is just beautiful. I don't care. To me, it's just such a beautiful state. Whether you're on the beach or you're not, it doesn't even matter to me anymore. I used to be like a total beach bunny, but now if I go to Goa, I can just be in a village or hanging out at a friend's place. I have a lot of friends who over the years have spent a lot of time in Goa, moved to Goa. So I actually like staying with them. I love South Goa. I didn't think I would, but I do. And I'm not partial to one particular part of the state. I just, I do prefer, I like it when it's a little quieter. That's for sure. But again, I've been in December and it's awesome. So everything about Goa and the vibe. I mean, I think people just leave you alone. You can do whatever you want. You can dress how you want. If you avoid, yeah, it's a very free spirit. It is free. And I definitely know a lot of Goan people, including some of my family members who are like, oh my God, it's been ruined. And there's now so much, a lot of outsiders who've come and sort of like made a mess of the place. They built these hideous bungalows and they've made pools in their house.
And they have those famous parties and things.
Yeah, there are people who've like come from Bombay and Delhi and then they've gone and built houses like they would in Bombay and Delhi. I'm like, oh, I don't know the point of that. Yeah, I don't know the point of that. Like, stay with the culture. But, there are lots of people who have stayed with the culture. And the food is amazing. Everything about Goa. It's so laid back and fun.
And
it's the only... Yeah, go ahead.
You also like New York a lot, right? So you worked there.
I love New York. I lived in New York for a really long time. So my dad was in the Air Force and I moved a lot as a kid. And then I went to boarding school. Then I went away to college. And I myself lived in Bangalore and Chennai when I was working in India. And I moved to New York. And New York was the first city I really lived in for any length of time. I lived in New York for almost 15 years. And I never lived anywhere for that long. And I loved it. And it was where I started doing comedy and where I guess I felt kind of free and sort of learned a lot about myself. And, it's a really great city. And I don't consider it to be the United States. So I don't consider New York to be America. I consider New York to be New York. The way I consider Goa to be Goa. And I don't really feel like there are people trying to spoil it and make it very sort of like regional and sort of provincial and all this nationalistic weirdness. But I don't know, I still feel like it's a little bit removed. So I like places that keep their individuality and don't try and like blend into the rest of the culture, So that's why I love New York.
So once the lockdown is over, once it's safe to travel, then people who are listening and all of us are going to head to our favorite destinations, and for you it's going to be Goa, I guess, right?
Yeah, I think that if they open up domestic travel, well, my parents live in Bangalore. I haven't seen them for a minute. So I have a feeling that's honestly going to be the first place I'm going to go to. But, I'd love to be able to go to Goa for a week. I'd love to be able to go to New York. There's a long list of places. I was supposed to try and go to Vietnam this year. That was sort of my plan with my mom and dad and husband. Like, that was a big plan that we had. Anish Nair, okay, of course I remember you. I'm just going to say hi, Anish.
Yeah. So tell me,
from We Work in New York. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. What about where
my friend Anita joined.
Yeah. Hi, Anita. Hi, Sangeeta. So tell me, where does one really learn? Is there a place you can learn comedy or stand-up comedy? And
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, totally. I feel even in India, like my friend Aditi Mittal runs comedy classes. My friend Gia runs comedy classes. There are quite a few improv comedy classes in Bombay. Look, I'm only talking about Bombay because that's where I've spent a lot of my time recently. But, there are rules about writing, actually, more than about comedy. Look, the thing with comedy, the most important thing to remember is that, I'm just blowing my friend a kiss, is that it's about timing. So it's two things. It's how you write. It's the jokes, the quality of the jokes and the thoughts that you have. And then it's the presentation. So it's the performance as well. And I do know a lot of people who are really good at one and not really strong in the other, but because they're really good in one, then they can practice doing the other. So I always personally feel that I'm a better performer than I am even a writer. But because I'm a good performer, it gives me some amount of confidence to practice enough that my writing has come along, because I know that I've got that part down. So now I just have to practice the writing and then I go and perform it. And then I know friends who are the exact reverse, and then they have all the jokes and then they just have to perform. And then I know people who are really shitty at both, but they're hard workers. And then I know people who are just really gifted at both. And, but I think it's two things. And both with performance and with the rhythm of how you write, timing is a very critical thing. And it comes from practice. Some of it is instinctive, okay? And some of it comes with practice. So I got a question from Anaita, Anaita Shroff, which is, what are you working on? I'm currently working on not stand-up. I'm working on a script because I started doing that with Shugs Fats, and we developed a lot of scripts. Unfortunately, our show didn't get picked up, but I want to keep doing that because I want to write more and more for other people to perform. I'm really interested in writing for different types of characters now. And again, it's something I haven't done, so it's really a learning curve for me. And the more I practice, hopefully, the better I'll get at it.
Yeah, because Chetna and a couple of other people are asking that can you recommend some place where online they can do these classes for improv, etc. Is there any?
Oh, yeah. So, you know what? Follow Gia Darak. So let me see if I can just put that on here. Okay, follow
Gia. Or you could
Gia.
send it to me, I'll post it. But anyway, try. Yeah,
Okay, I think that's Gia's email address. But just look for Gia Darak. And Gia has done a lot of, even if she's not teaching the class, like she'll know who's doing what. And they are doing some jam sessions and stuff like that for improv. And even just DM me directly, like just DM me about what you want and your location. DM me what you want in your location, and I'll send you some people to connect with. But definitely with comedy, you can learn to write, and you can practice and get better at timing because it's an instinct thing. You have to feel the timing in your gut.
Yeah.
And
question that can it really be taught? Because actually, it's about timing. I mean,
it is, but I think it's
second late.
Yeah, it's instinct. I mean, there is a lot of instinct involved in a lot of these jobs. But like even now, I'm learning that with writing a script, there is a timing involved. It may be a written script, but there is something about an instinct on timing and when to cut a scene to another scene, when to stop talking in a scene and move on to another scene, and what is that other scene going to be? And there are 2 or 3 storylines running at the same time, and how much weight do you want to give each one? That's all going to come down to timing, which I don't know anything about because I've never written in that medium. But maybe if I practice enough, I'll figure it out slowly,
Of course, that can be done.
Yeah. So I think there is something to be said for just working at something, and if you really want to do it, you can.
Yeah.
And then there's some things you're just never going to learn.
Yeah, I guess for some people it comes instinctively in any
case.
And for some people they have to practice it, but it may not happen at the right moment, 1 out of 10 times.
Yeah, and so long, if you're looking to do something as a job, I think that's a different story altogether. But if you just want to do something for fun, you should not be bothered about whether you're good or bad at it. Then it's just pure fun and you just don't give a shit. And I've worked with so many people who, especially in improv, who don't want to do it as a job. And maybe they weren't even that, like their timing wasn't that great, or it didn't even matter. They were so much fun to perform with because they just loved it, and I think that's so important. Someone's written Urvashi.
Urvashi would like to encourage her son and also advice for youngsters.
Great comic timing, classic one-liners. I'm encouraging him to take up stand-up comedy as a hobby. I mean, Urvashi, encourage him to take it up as a job. Why not? Like, let him do whatever. It's up to him at the end of the day. I think one really important thing that, we never say enough about is any job, to be really good at it. And my friend Anaita, who was on this, I mean, has this amazing career. I've known her many years. I've seen that career grow. And I know that it's grown. She's very fucking talented, but she works her ass off. And that's the way most people, I mean, there's no substitute for discipline. I've learned that the hard way myself. You get to a certain point because of your talent. And then after that, it has to be about your discipline. You have to work at it. And so I think a 21-year-old has to understand that if you are innately talented, then put some time towards it. Put in the time and you'll reap the rewards. I mean, we all know this. Like, I wish I had taken school more seriously when people were like, just study a little bit harder and you'll do so much better. And I was like, will I? I'm just going to be lazy and stupid. And I can be like that now too. I mean, I've had to make a lot of changes, to be completely honest with everyone listening. I've had to make some major changes in my life and bring discipline back into my life so that I can actually do what I love, because I was sacrificing my creative spirit because I wasn't disciplined. And I'm an adult, so it was even more shameful. But now I think I'm getting back to that, and I think it's a really important thing. Like, I'll just give you an example, right? Like, you were very clear about the fact that you're going to do this podcast every other Sunday or every Sunday. What is it?
Every Sunday.
Every Sunday at 7. And so that's what you're doing. Now, it really doesn't matter what happens a year from now. The point is, in the next several weeks, you're going to learn a lot of stuff just because you're doing this every Sunday at 7. Nothing is going to be able to substitute that learning. So exactly. I think that discipline is the most important thing, and pushing them to be, the advice I would give is, tell your kid that you want to listen to as much stand-up comedy as you can, but you also want to spend time writing your jokes down on a piece of paper, committing them to memory, and then trying to get onto open mics. And the open mics, Urvashi, he can find out by following Jia Darak. Jia Sethi is a comedian in Bombay who runs several open mics a week online. It's a huge privilege that we have people like that doing stuff like this. So that's my advice.
Somebody likes my red flame.
I love your, by the way, I love your red flames. They're flames. They're super flames, your red flames. They're really cool. Yeah. I had my glasses off and I'm on, but I'm like, I'm going to take them off because they're just the most, I mean, literally the most boring. Let me put them on. Yeah. I always say that these glasses make me look like this emoji. Just look at this. I look exactly like this guy. Whoa. Like that's me. That's exactly me with these stupid glasses. Yeah, so yeah, there you go.
So what do you think of the new Facebook avatar that they've created? I was so disappointed with mine.
I haven't been on Facebook. Oh my God, I haven't been on Facebook for ages, like ages.
They created this new avatar and of you. It was terrible. I mean, the first cut that they did for me was horrible. I hated it. And I had to go back and rework it. And
oh my God,
presentable.
Yeah. I haven't been on Facebook for a minute.
Okay, but you're active on Instagram, so.
I am. You know, I think I took a little bit of time out from social media last year because, like I said, there was a lot going on, a lot of personal stuff. I wanted a break. I needed to get back to my discipline of writing and being in a creative space. I was grinding too hard, you know, performing, writing for other stuff, and just trying to keep the career afloat. And then I just realized that I was not giving the real discipline that I needed to. And I was partying too much. And part of the partying was also just to deal with the anxiety of like all the stuff that I was trying to do and, you know, trying to do too much. And now I'm kind of like, okay, calm down, just take it easy. And the only time I'll go on social media now is to defend any of my comic friends who are being harassed by trolls and stuff like that.
And does it happen? Is there a lot?
Yeah, I mean, we're right in the middle of a huge, right now, I mean, a friend of mine has just been, I mean, they've gone after her for nothing. It's so obviously like stupid. Like, I don't want to get into it because your podcast, if there's anyone out there even like paying attention, they'll be all over your social media for nothing. It's just ugly. So her name's Agrima Joshua. She's amazing. She's super talented. I'm sad that her name's got blown up for something so stupid, but I'm glad now people know who she is because she is freaking hilarious. She's one of the best we have.
So it does happen then. It happens everywhere.
Yeah, and it happens a lot with stand-up comics because we're not that high profile. We don't have, I mean, and we're more likely to say things that are out there, you know. Of course, I mean, it happens a lot to like people like Swara Bhaskar and, you know, Richa Chadda and all these girls, yeah. Yeah, Pokraj
Okay,
has a lot to say on this because he's probably been following it like a basset hound. He's a comedy fan, so he knows. Yeah.
okay, I wanted to ask you a question. I will, and after that, we'll quickly take questions and then we'll wind up. Otherwise, it'll get automatically cut off.
Sure.
We are nearing
Yeah.
an hour, so I don't
Yeah.
want it to go midway without
Cool. Yeah.
thanking
Go
you
for
and
it.
everybody.
Yeah. Please
So,
keep us
can you
honest.
give me one good sort of moment that you had, a funny moment during your performances, or sometime when you were doing a show, a fan moment or something really funny which you really want to recount, and
Well,
something
I
that
don't know.
stays in your memory?
Yeah, I mean, for me, fan moments are awesome and everything, but they're not usually funny. They're just heartfelt and sincere, and I love it, and they love it, and it's all good. But I was performing maybe for the 5th or 10th, okay, maybe the 10th time in India, and it was in Gurgaon. I'm sorry, Gurgaon, but you got this reputation now. And I was at a bar, and it was a huge freaking bar, like a massive place, and the show was supposed to start at 9 o'clock. I showed up there for my sound check and everything was fine. And what I didn't realize, and what the organizers didn't realize, was that there was an India-Pakistan cricket match the same evening. And a lot of people, so when I started the show, like I got into a fight basically with a gang of Gurgaon/Delhi men because they wanted me to go away and they wanted to watch a cricket match. And I was naive enough to think that I could fight them and get away with it. And I kind of did by the end of it because we had to turn off the cricket match. But that was just an experience. I mean,
No.
it was an intense experience.
Dangerous.
Yeah.
That could be dangerous.
I was like, what is
recommend
happening? Yeah. And I'm like, don't you people want to hear what I have to say? Not realizing they didn't care who I was. They didn't know who I was. They're like, who is this chick? We don't care. We want to watch a cricket match. And they were all drunk as well. So that helped. Yeah.
I'm glad it went off well.
Yeah.
And any advice for people who are listening to you, maybe about the current situation, maybe about upcoming artists or whatever, and then we'll take a few questions. If anybody has questions, you can ask.
Yeah, we can just take questions if you like. I mean, the current situation is we're all locked at home. Some of us are lucky that we don't have to worry so much, we still have our lives and our livelihoods, and some of us are not lucky and we're stressed out, and there's no advice I can give you except hopefully this will all start to evaporate soon, and I just hope we all become nicer people at the end of this, man. Like we've been smacked down, we should have some humility at the end of it. Like I just hope, I hope I don't come out of it the same exact person that I was going in. I just hope I find some way in which I've changed.
That's a lovely way of looking at it. I will use that sometime.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. And any advice for youngsters who are getting into this?
Yeah, don't take too many drugs. Any advice for youngsters, oldsters is, comedy, there's a lot of us who take a lot, drink a lot and party a lot, and we think it's helping, but it's not. So just take it easy and then take care of your health. That's my advice.
Wonderful. And any last minute questions, guys? Otherwise,
anyone have any questions? I'm scrolling through to see if anyone had any questions. I guess Urvashi just had questions about her kid. And then I was asked, would I like to act someday? I mean, but I feel like, it's one of those things where we sometimes don't give actors enough credit. So I know a lot of people like, I want to act and I'm an actor. And it's like, no, you're not. Like the amount of focus it takes to actually be an actor is pretty intense. And creating a character and then holding that character for the period of an entire take, let alone being on stage and doing it. So yeah, I would love to be in something that if I wrote it, then probably I know exactly how to build the character. And if someone wrote it for me, I have done some acting. typically when someone's written something for me, where they know that, oh yeah, she'd be able to pull that exact thing off because we've seen her kind of do that on stage. So yeah, definitely. What else? Is there any other questions that we missed from the beginning?
About your favorite places, underrated place. Would you like to name something?
I tend to, I love cities. I'm a big fan of a city. And I know that's not always popular. Because it's like, I love to be outdoors and in nature. And I love that we have nature. I love that we have gardens and parks. And I love that we have the mountains and the valleys and all of the Grand Canyon. And in India, we have this, beautiful lakes and rivers and everything. And I love that they're there because if they weren't, we'd all be screwed. And I hate that we're abusing them. But I'm a city girl at heart, and I think a lot of it has to do with growing up on Air Force stations away from cities and always wondering what was going on, like having FOMO without knowing what FOMO really was at the time. So I do love cities, but and beaches. So that's my thing. Cities, beaches. I need to have water close by. I like cities that are close to the sea. So for me, I love Bombay. I love that city. I love
New York.
New York. I really love Istanbul, and it's not near a sea, I guess. It's on the Bosphorus, but then it's really close to a sea, so it's on water. Yeah, I like oceans and seas. I like that.
In Istanbul, one side is Europe and the other side of the water
Yes.
is Asia.
Yes, I do know that. I've been to Istanbul a couple of times because I have a really close friend who lives there. And so I'm lucky that I've been twice already, once just to visit and once for her wedding. So yeah. Thoughts on what's going on with Agrima Joshua? How it is dangerous for comedians to joke on religion and historical figures as such. Okay, so I'm just not going to answer that on this podcast because it's not my podcast, it's Sadhana's podcast, and I don't want Sadhana to get trolled by the creeps out there, and they're just legions of them. So I do obviously have strong opinions, but I think that's something that, go on my Instagram or Twitter and we'll talk about it there. Clearly, I'm not approving of it. Yeah.
Yeah, it must be a tough decision on balancing between what you want to say and what people want to hear. So
yeah, I mean, it is. I mean, if it was, my podcast, I'd go ahead and say exactly what I think. Question, what were your plans if the lockdown and the dystopian nightmare hadn't started? What were your plans? Yeah, my plans were to just be doing stand-up. I wanted to develop a whole new hour, but I don't know if I'm actually going to do that because I like the live audience vibe while I'm developing material. I never used to be like that. I used to actually write in complete seclusion and then test out 20-minute segments because I had done so much improvised comedy like for 10, 12 years before I started doing stand-up. I found that easier to do. But now I like the audience. So I don't know when my next stand-up set like for a whole hour, but I'm doing some new stuff in all the online shows. So please come to the online shows, follow me here, and you'll see some stuff.
Tell them your Instagram handle.
My Instagram handle is Radvaz, Radvaz. So it's Radvaz or Radvaz. And same on Twitter, Radvaz. And join me and I'll tell you everything about my shows and what I think of whatever, everything.
Great. And Anup says there are many Hindi stand-up comedians who are trending on YouTube. I feel many are unnecessarily abusive. I may be wrong, but I would love to hear your take. So do you think people also take advantage of the medium in some way? Or
I think the abusive thing is also a matter of opinion. People think I swear a lot, and I probably do. And I also know when I'm doing it because I'm in trouble and no one's laughing. And I know that if I throw in a swear word, it might make it a little bit less not funny. It's not going to make it funnier, but it'll make it a little less not funny. sometimes. And some people are just funnier swearing than others. But I'm not against people swearing at all. I just, you need to have more content than mother
Yeah, I
chosen,
think
ben chosen,
what probably happens is that they run down people or deliberately sort of abuse them, etc., just to make it funny. That's the
I
goal.
think, yeah. So we have a rule in comedy is that when you go into the audience too much, when you go into the audience and ask them like, what do you do for a living? And, what are you reading nowadays? And then you go off into a riff on that, that's very different. But if your crowd work is making fun of each and every member in the audience and you're not that quick at it and you're just sort of abusive and insulting and mean-spirited, I don't know. I'm not into that. But, Russell Peters is a great, I mean, he's a pretty funny comic, man. I mean, he's a big comedian and he's funny and he does go into the audience and he will go off on them. But that's like 5% of his set. 95% of his set is prepared jokes that he's taken the trouble to actually workshop and write. So I think there's a balance that comedians can. I don't know who this guy is exactly. This is excursion.
Yeah.
Excursionist me. Yeah. I don't know who you're talking about, so I can't say, yeah, you're right. But you're probably right. I mean, there are comedians who will mainly be abusive and say shit just to get a rise out. And yeah, it's not my scene either.
So that's great. And I think let's start winding up.
Yes.
Yeah. Radhika as Radhika Vaz, and I'm Sadhna. My handle is Sadhna_Insta. So every week for the next few weeks at least, probably till the lockdown, you're going to see me every Sunday at 7 p.m. Do join back. I've termed this program as a curator's journey because I'm a curator of journeys. I mean, I'm a travel person otherwise, so that's why the name. Also, next week we'll have fashion stylists, so that would be nice. I wish all of you come back, and you too, Radhika.
Oh, that'd be great. I mean, I think we all know my style could use a little fashion.
Yeah, you have your own style, right? So,
I mean, we all have our own style. Some of us better than others, some of us far worse.
So anyway, you're great, and thank you
you
so much for coming. I gave you such little notice, and you've been so awesome and good. Thank you very much. And
you're very welcome.
Keep flourishing.
Thank you. You too.
Of yours. Yeah. Bye bye.
Thanks, guys.
Bye, guys. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Anup says, amazing session. Thank you. Pokraj has been great.
Pokraj is just the sweetest.
Garima
thanks, Garima. Thanks, Shalu.
And Urvashi is here. So many people have been there throughout the 1 hour, which is wonderful. Thank you all very much and hope to see you next Sunday on A Curator's Journey at 7 p.m. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed it because I really enjoyed talking to my guest. If you did, then you must join me every Sunday at 7 p.m. on A Curator's Journey on Insta Live. And here on YouTube, please like, subscribe and hit the bell icon before you log out so that you get notified about any new videos which get uploaded. Thank you so much again, and I really look forward to connecting with you more. Bye-bye.